Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are focusing in and we are zooming in a little bit more in depth on the narcissist and really the ramifications of lack of empathy. And one is that they're very uncomfortable with their emotional life. They're oftentimes not comfortable with expressing emotions or being humble, being in the moment. They are so caught up in how others perceive them that they're not able to be very present. And so, without this ability to be present and kind of go through things naturally, and being so caught up in how others perceive them and keeping the facade, the perfectionist mask, keeping that inflated sense of self, that oftentimes they don't really seem to have a real rich emotional life. And oftentimes the backside of this is that they're not aware of the impact of their emotions on others. So they might say things that are very caustic, very burning, very sarcastic. So they might use a lot of kind of judgment or the sort of they might call it humor, but yet there's always someone else at the butt of the joke. There's always somebody else who has to pay the price, or the way that they might just pick out little idiosyncrasies of you and just basically make you feel like you're flawed because of this. And it's oftentimes a defense mechanism to a feeling of their own inherent shame and vulnerability as people. And the narcissist, because it's so important the way that they're perceived by the world. So they're very other focused as we talk about having an internal locus of control versus an external locus of control and having somebody else control you. They're so caught up in what others perceive of them that they will really kind of act outside of themselves. And as a defense, to protect their own internal vulnerability, they will just lampshade others, they'll humiliate others, they'll shame others as a projection to how and cover up for how that they feel themselves. So they always want to have the power, control, and dominance over others. And so they're always trying to, skate around and really become as a defense, that defense up, and will so kind of get you to feel negative even before you've really done anything. They'll always try to beat you to the punch. They'll always try to deflect some sort of emotional viewpoint. In other words, a situation might arise for you to be really human together. Really bare your souls, really let your guard down, kind of be a person. Now, this is not an easy thing for the narcissist because they want to be so protective of that quality within themselves. They don't like to be like everybody else. They don't like to exist in the world. They want to be of the world. They want to be the man of the world. They want to be the woman of the world. They want to be that like knight in shining armor. They want to be the machismo. They want to be the charming, femme fatale. They want to be the seducer. They want to be this, big watch, Maserati, sort of outward show. Even in the covert narcissist, they want to have and project a certain demeanor. So they're constantly, trying to mitigate between who they're presenting and who they really are. So it's like they're constantly trying to moderate and mediate how they interact in the world, which has got to be apparently exhausting, to try to always have to censor your mask, your persona, how you're perceived, and try to control that. It's like an ultimate control mechanism where they're trying to control the control that keeps them out of the control. And it's all a defense mechanism to protect them from the apparent shame and humiliation that they feel, which could have originated in their youth, it could have originated in their childhood, it could have originated with them from, who knows, past lifetimes. But whatever it is, this shame, this humiliation that they feel based on, their environment or however things were created in them, they are really trying to deflect and bury that at all costs. And they'll do whatever it takes to deflect that. And oftentimes this manifests in a lack of empathy. And it lacks an emotional presence, and especially, in a sort of deflecting away of any sort of human sort of strand that can go with a situation. They're always trying to engage in a lot of this, persona management. And then so you just try to speak about, a normal, everyday appreciation or reflection on things, and they're just kind of like, they don't get it. They're very uncomfortable with like an emotional life. They don't want to have any chink in the armor. They don't want to have any, rust on the bumper. They don't want to have any, smudge. They want to have a complete clarity and a sort of, persona shine, or I call it really a veneer that they want to present to the world. And even the covert narcissist wants to engage in this versus just being transparent. As you say, I'm transparent. I just want to be all out there. In other words, I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to conceal. I have nothing to deceive you with. This is what you see is what you get. And that is what we call the quality of being transparent. And oftentimes, that's where the real emotional life is. You're not in constantly emotional management, trying to manipulate others through emotional cognition or things of that nature, which oftentimes the narcissist is fully engaging in. And so with this, oftentimes comes a lack of interest in people's feelings or emotions. They just act like they couldn't care less. Like, you're irrelevant, you're unimportant. And that's a true sign of someone who is engaging in a lot of pretty intensive narcissism, is that they just don't really care about your feelings. It's like they're so absorbed with their own experience, getting across their viewpoint, being the domination, having the control, the center of attention on them. Really, you have to wonder for what reason. Where is it really going to get you? It's just that they need to be in the center of attention. They just, that's just what they need. And so I really feel it's kind of a deflecting of a certain real quality of humanness, which you think would be the solution, just to bare your arms, drop the guns, drop the sword, just to, maybe that would be a little bit more enjoyable for you. So I know a lot of people who are in relationships with a covert narcissist, they want to help them to drop their defenses, drop, all that they've been carrying. But oftentimes this is going to be met with really, really major resistance, because the narcissist wants to keep themselves armed with persona management at all costs. They don't want to appear sick. They don't want to appear a hair out of place. They don't want to appear with the wrong vehicle. They don't, it's just all about deflecting and, look at me. And they just want other people to just bounce off of them. They're not very good at receiving emotional life from others. They're not really good at receiving they view it as basically a confrontation. They view it as a battle. Just normal discussion. If you're to be on level with them, they're going to be very uncomfortable with that. They don't want to be equal. They want to be better than. They want to be above. They want to be, for whatever reason, they want to be the one to be way above. And they will really follow this desire at all costs. And oftentimes, they will not like to be angry. They'd rather live in denial and just move on to their next conquest. So I think it's really kind of interesting to see that pattern in the narcissist. And if you see that and you're wondering why there's not that emotional connection, I think because really to unify and to be human, you have to be human. Which sounds like a pretty basic statement. It's like, I am that I am. I mean, it's just one of those profound statements that, to be human, you have to be human. And so the mask, the way that these people live and carrying around a facade and persona management, they're so in control of controlling the control that they eventually become out of control. And this is manifest in, when you see the rage, they just, they will do things, they'll explode. They'll have a whole separate fantasy life where they're not able to engage with others. And furthermore, just really alienate the very people who are trying to connect with them. And then they wonder why they have personality issues. And they think really that it's everyone else and it has nothing to do with them. It's Peace and Harmony with you here today. I'm hoping that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.